Are you there, Mr. Bronskill?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can. Alrighty. So you have your 5 minutes starting now.
Thank you. I was going to start by just correcting a few facts. So, for example, Mr. Brown suggested these are three-story walk-ups. I mean, that's not correct in terms of how these units operate. The second floor and third floor are two-story units, but you walk up 2 stories to reach those units. It's a fairly typical concept and typical, especially when they are not luxury units. I don't know why he thinks my client has said that we're only committed to doing, quote, upmarket units, but that's just not correct and frankly not relevant. Secondly, I heard a comment that those upper units all have kitchens on the north wall, and that's not true. The northeast corner of the building closest to the neighbor's rear yard is actually where the stair comes up. And then behind that, it's a bedroom. And then the other unit to its west on the upper level is also a bedroom. That second floor does have a kitchen, one kitchen, but the bedrooms on those upper levels were pushed to the back because we thought they were the most private uses, not because Heritage Preservation Services told us to locate bedrooms or kitchens in those locations. That's just not true. Heritage also has never been concerned about the relationship of this building to adjacent homes. It's been concerned about the relationship of the addition to the existing heritage asset on the site, unlike what Ms. Zeidler implied. And so I don't think she must have heard heritage correctly. The plans that have been presented are accurate. They're dimensioned, they're based on surveys, and they were extensively reviewed with Heritage Preservation Services. So I'm just not quite sure where she's getting her information. In terms of the public realm, I'd note that on the plans provided, in fact, unlike Mr. Brown's assertion, hardscaping is actually being removed in the public boulevard and being replaced with soft landscaping. If you see at the corner, in terms of the image that's on the screen, that's hardscaping that would be replaced with soft landscaping. Unlike the neighbor to the east who was complaining about parking, who actually doesn't have a legal parking space on her property, but parks in the public boulevard in a manner that wouldn't be permitted today. In terms of trees, urban forestry's comments are in front of you. They've reviewed the application. They have no objection and didn't even recommend conditions for you. So there was a lot of discussion from one person about the trees, but I trust urban forestry, and they haven't even recommended conditions for the application. The plans presented to you with some of the images from the 3D images, I would just caution, some of them are slightly misleading in terms of their images. When you look at the site plan, such as the one in front of you here, you can see that the length or depth is really just one bay window beyond the existing neighbor to the north. Some of the image shown to you had 2, 3, and even 4 windows showing, which exaggerated the nature of the relationship between these buildings. It really is only one bay window extending beyond. And those windows are angled so that the views are away and on the angle to the northeast. We did shadow studies. They're with you. The existing building shadows the yard to the north. It's not the addition. And as Mr. Galbraith noted, it's not a pattern of uniform rear yard setbacks or rear walls in this neighborhood. It's in fact a staggered pattern, and it's quite common to have structures extend beyond an adjacent neighbor. That's frankly the character of this neighborhood. I mean, I do have to go on record, unlike what one person said. I never said the neighborhood has no character. I said it had no prevailing character, which is a very important test in the official plan. And again, we were chided for not paying attention to the official plan. I think Mr. Galbraith's extensive planning rationale, in fact, goes through those policy tests in a lot of detail. And that lack of prevailing character, frankly, is very important when assessing whether something like this respects and reinforces that physical character. A lot of what was said, I think, was then frankly irrelevant. Rats, I still don't know whether this is a slum or a luxury building based on Mr. Brown versus the person making comments about rats. I'm going to suggest to you it's somewhere in the middle. And what has been worked out with city planning staff is a garbage solution that will have containers so the garbage can be appropriately stored in front. All of these are the growing pains in terms of trying to figure out how to take an asset like this and turn it into something we need more of, which is desirable rental housing in our neighborhoods and not just grade related single detached houses or semi-detached houses. Everybody seemed to support the idea of this proposal, just not its implementation in this location. And overall, I think what's been done through the massing, through working hard with heritage, through working hard with planning, is again, one bay's extension beyond someone else's rear wall in a manner that doesn't trigger a height variance, in a manner that doesn't trigger a side yard variance. I actually think it's quite sensitively designed to take use of this asset, repurpose it, and ensure it continues to be such an important asset in the neighborhood. From a planning perspective, I think there's no question that the land use planning opinions in front of you from city staff and from Mr. Galbraith